Hey friends, I'm Ash Leatherwood, your friendly neighborhood apologist, and in this video we're talking about my favorite question to ask Muslims. Let's jump in. Now, I love interacting with Muslims. They really are passionate about what they believe, and many of them actually know a lot about what they believe. Like you'll be talking to someone and they actually can share many stories. They might be able to recite parts of the Quran to you. They're generally very intelligent in their education and their knowledge of their own religion. Lots of them don't hold it half-heartedly. They're very passionate about that, which makes these conversations so much more engaging and passionate. And I absolutely love it. I love talking to Muslims. However, sometimes you can just get so caught up in a debate that neither of you are going to end up getting anything out of the conversation if you're both equally passionate about it. So that's why when I enter into a conversation like this, I have two goals. First, I want it to be a friendly conversation. I don't want it to be something where we both leave just frustrated. So you got to keep this conversation on friendly grounds. Second, I want to leave them something to think about, something that sticks with them from the conversation, something I can give them to really continue to cross-examine their own views, and something that might change them going forward. I'm not trying to change them in the moment. If I can leave them something that maybe changes them in the long run, worth it for me. So that's why I have this one question that, in my experience, I love asking because it does get those wheels turning in getting a Muslim to cross-examine their own views, why they hold them, and maybe think about what other views might possibly be and reasons for holding those views. Now, here's the question. Can God do anything? If he can't do anything, can he come to earth as a man? And that's really the question because in Islam, Allah is so great, and they'll say that, he's the most merciful, he's the most powerful, he's the most, you name it. But the question is, if he really is the most powerful, can he come to earth as a man? Because that's the big point that Muslims will push when someone like me, a Christian, would say, God came to earth as Jesus of Nazareth. He lived the perfect life we could not live. He died the death on the cross that we deserved because of our sin. He paid the price for it. Then he rose again from the dead so that anyone who believes in Jesus and what he did and calls on his name can have forgiveness of sins and can enter new life in relationship with God. That's what I, as a Christian, would claim. But a Muslim would say, well, why would Allah become a human being? That's too lowly for him, right? That's like saying God became a cow or God became a worm. Like, how could the God of the universe lower himself in this way? And because of that, they'll say, no, it's not even possible that Allah came to earth as a human being, even if that human being was this great prophet, Jesus, right? But that's why I like to ask this question. Okay, so you have a high view of Allah, of God. That's all Allah means. Okay, I'm with you there. We should have a very high view of God. We can fall in danger of having too low of a view of God, in fact. But if Allah truly is all powerful, if he can do anything, if nothing's too big for him, can he come to earth, theoretically, in human form? Could he do that if he wanted to? Now, this puts a Muslim in the position of either having to say, no, he's not powerful enough to do that. Or, yes, he is powerful enough to do that. And if he is powerful enough to do that, then it's at least theoretically possible that Jesus was God incarnate. He was God in the flesh, as I, as a Christian, would believe that he is. Now, this is neither of those options work for a Muslim because if they say, no, he's not powerful enough, then he's no longer the all greatly powerful Allah that they view him as. If he is powerful enough to do that, then that opens the door for Jesus himself to be God, which, of course, that won't work for them. So what's happened in my experience when I've asked this question is usually they're like, okay, sure, he's powerful enough to do it, but he never would because he is this great, great being. He wouldn't humble himself in this way. But that's where I, as a Christian, say, like, that's the amazing part. That's the beautiful part of the gospel, that God does humble himself. He takes on the nature of a servant, as we read in the New Testament. And he came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. You see, he didn't just humble himself just to humble himself. He did it for a purpose, and that's because we were already apart from him because of our sin, deserving of his wrath and judgment, and if nothing changed, we're going to spend eternity in hell apart from him. That's what we deserve as sinners, rebelling against this great and powerful and just God. We could never do anything ourselves to atone for it. But that's why God humbles himself, comes as Jesus, lives the perfect life none of us could, dies the death we deserve. He dies on the cross to pay the punishment for our rebellion, all our sin. And then he rises again, proving to be God in the flesh and showing to have the authority to forgive our sins, that they've been paid for. It's like the check. Um, it's like the receipt. It's come through. It's been paid for. Now all we have to do is receive this. So if we believe in him and call on his name, we will be saved. We will receive this gift of life, a new relationship with God. That's why this great God of all creation humbles himself and comes as a man. But we can even just think about this in human terms, okay? Let's imagine that you're a great person, right? So you wear very nice clothes. Now let's imagine that you, with all your other important friends and colleagues, are walking beside this dirty lake, and you see an 8-year-old who is drowning because they don't know how to swim in the middle of this lake. Now, you're a great person. What are you going to do? Like, you're wearing very nice clothes. Why would you get in that water? And you might say, okay, sure. This is the thing. If there was no one in that lake, you would never get in that water. Why would you dirty yourself when you're already such an important and professional looking person? But there's a reason why you jump in that lake to go and rescue that 8-year-old. And because of what it is, you wouldn't send someone around you, one of your friends or colleagues, to do it. No, you would go do it. Now, if you as a human can show that kind of love to humble ourselves from this high stature, to do this thing, to save this other person, then how much greater and how much more reason would there be for the God of all creation, who is perfectly loving, to do the same thing and humble himself to come and save us? So that's the question that I love to ask my Muslim friends who have a problem with saying that Allah came as a human being, as Jesus. You ask them, is he powerful enough to do whatever he wants? Can he do anything? Yes? Okay. Can he come to earth in human form? No? Oh, I guess he's not all powerful anymore. Or yes? Okay. Then it's theoretically possible he came as Jesus. And then when you get to this point, of course, then you'll probably get the point, well, he never would. That's too lowly for him. And then you can make the argument, well, he doesn't do it for no reason. We believe that he humbled himself for a reason. And that's the salvation of people from every nation, tribe, and tongue, to come back into a relationship with perfect God. Because that's exactly where we are apart from him, without him intervening. We're stuck in our sin, and we can never do anything to approach a perfect God. Because once something or someone is imperfect, they can never be perfect again. No matter how much good stuff you add, there's always going to be that smallest little percentage of bad. And that's what we can never approach God with, because he is perfect. And that's why in this story, he comes to us through Jesus. So I hope you get to use this question when interacting with Muslims, definitely just to push the conversation forward, and explain why we believe that God humbled himself, what a beautiful story this is, and why we can find hope and healing and forgiveness and new life in Jesus. So go use this question. Let me know how it goes, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.